Members of the United States military are obligated not to follow Donald Trump or any president. They're obligated and take an oath, a sworn oath, to uphold the Constitution. And that means that if there is an illegal order or an order that violates the Constitution, when in doubt, they have to comply with the Constitution, and they have an obligation our military does, our military officers do, to disobey unconstitutional, illegal orders that don't comply with congressional statutes or the Constitution itself. And that is from starting back in the very beginnings and foundings of our nation, and is also embodied in the Code of Military Justice under something that we refer to as the Nuremberg Principles, which come out of the Nuremberg trials after World War II, after the Holocaust, when the Nazi officers were put up, along with soldiers, they were put up in tribunals to be convicted of crimes, and they tried to argue, we were just following orders. The Nuremberg Principle, now embedded within the United States Code of Military Justice, says that is not a defense. You cannot follow an illegal, unconstitutional, ultra vires order. Now, Donald Trump thinks, as has been in the press in the last 72 hours, that a group of elected officials, many of them either in the military in the past, veterans, or members of the intelligence community, sending out a beacon, if you will, to the military that says you not only should not follow an illegal, unconstitutional order of this president, you have an obligation, an oath that you've taken to the Constitution to disobey that order. And why do they have to send out that beacon right now? They have to send out that beacon because Pete Hegseth has lopped off the heads of the military brass that would form a resistance, that would remind the troops of the Code of Military Justice, that would remind them that they need to follow the Constitution, not any man, not any president. And since we don't have the Mark Millies anymore, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, we don't have those people who would form a bulwark of resistance against an out-of-control president, then from the outside, we need to speak to the inside and remind them of their obligation. It is unconstitutional for a military officer or somebody that follows an officer rank and file to follow an unconstitutional act. So if Donald Trump says, shoot those protesters in the park at the White House, you have to refuse that order. If he says, go seize the voting machines, and there's no statutory law that allows him to do that, you have to ignore that. If he says interfere with the election, you must ignore it. I'm Michael Popok. You're here on Monday morning on Legal AF. I need to weigh in on this issue because it's getting worse for Donald Trump, not better. So take a moment, hit the free subscribe button, and help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel. Now, we've got the video clip for you first, and then I'll react to it and show you some other videos, other receipts that I've brought to show you we're dealing with an enemy from within, an enemy domestic against the Constitution if Donald Trump were to continue to give ultra vires unconstitutional orders. So when Elise Slotkin and Mark Kelly and other members of the other veterans elected officials and members of the intelligence community put together this next video clip, it drove Donald Trump crazy and has him calling for their execution, for them to be hanged, for them to be found in treason and sedition, when it's the exact opposite. Donald Trump doesn't understand the supremacy clause of the Constitution. He doesn't understand the Nuremberg Principles. He doesn't understand the first duty of loyalty is always to the Constitution and not to the president. And there is a body of Supreme Court case law that says that. Cases that arise out of the My Lai massacre in Vietnam, U.S. versus Cali, In re Yamashita, that says you cannot, as a soldier, follow an illegal order to shoot everybody, to attack blue states, to seize voting machines if that violates the United States Constitution. Let's play the clip now for you of the video that has driven Donald Trump mad. Let's play the clip. Now, let me read to you from my Constitution. It starts with the Supremacy Clause. Then I'll talk about the United States Code of Military Justice. Then I'll talk about the Nuremberg Principles and why Donald Trump is wrong and people in his administration are wrong. And the MAGA right-wing influencers that are going on network television to try to defend Donald Trump are wrong. Here's what Article 6 of the Constitution says. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Next clause. The members of the several state legislatures, the senators and representatives, and all executive and judicial officers. A military officer is an executive officer, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. They're in the very oath they take themselves. They are bound to uphold and defend the Constitution, not the president. The president, the P word, isn't even mentioned. So you start with that provision of the Constitution. The Nuremberg Principle came out of World War II when they were investigating and prosecuting Nazis for having killed 6 million Jews and another 4 million other people. And they tried to argue we were just following orders. We were just following orders of the Nazi high command and of Adolf Hitler. You know, you can't prosecute us. And the principle that came out of that is no, you have an obligation to disobey an immoral, unconstitutional, illegal law or illegal order. It is your very duty. Your duty of loyalty is not to the president. Your duty of loyalty is to the Constitution. And that's what that clip was all about. But Donald Trump went mad and called for, as you've seen in his social media posts, continues to rant and rave about seditious conspiracy and these people should be hanged and the rest. And then you've got Carolyn Levitt, his press secretary, his propaganda minister, because the public outrage and uproar about Donald Trump, who's losing his grip on power now. He's not the Donald Trump from 3 months ago, from 6 months ago, from November, from January, right? The ground has shifted under his feet. He's lost his grip. The combination of the economy, the combination of his illegal immigration policy and his Epstein cover-up have reduced him down to size to the lame duck president that he is. So now the firestorm that came out when he went after people now versus when he went after people when Charlie Kirk was murdered, is different. So let's play the Carolyn Levitt clip.
President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders.
Now, I'm not the first person to call Donald Trump an enemy from within against the Constitution, which is what the oath requires. That anyone taking the oath has to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. He's a domestic enemy. I just interviewed Attorney General Chris Mays of Arizona. She says in one of her clips, one of her interviews, that this is a coup in progress. We're watching a coup in progress. Let's play the Chris Mays video.
I'm Attorney General Chris Mays. The actions of the Trump administration in the last 3 weeks can only be described as dictatorial and authoritarian. Every day, nearly every hour, there is some new action or executive order that makes a mockery of the rule of law and the Constitution itself. This weekend, Vice President J.D. Vance posted a statement saying that judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. That is a complete affront to the system of checks and balances inherent in our Constitution. The independent judiciary acts as a check on executive overreach. In the United States, we appeal rulings we disagree with. We don't ignore court orders or threaten judges with impeachment when a ruling goes the way we don't like. I want to be as direct and clear as I can be. There is an undemocratic administration in power, and they appear hell-bent on undoing 250 years of adherence to the rule of law in this nation. It is an incredibly dangerous moment, and it is all the more dangerous if people don't understand what is happening. There is an ongoing coup against the Constitution of the United States happening as we speak.
And similarly, Nancy Pelosi on or about Jan 6 said the same thing, that Donald Trump was a domestic enemy of the Constitution. Let's play the Pelosi clip.
We take an oath to protect our country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. There is a domestic enemy in the White House. And let's not mince words about this.
Now, Donald Trump sent out a whole bunch of people to go on network television over the weekend and try to defend his calling to execute members of Congress, the House and the Senate, who have just spoken the truth about the Code of Military Justice, Supreme Court precedent, the Nuremberg Principles, and our Constitution's Supremacy Clause. And you get somebody on the air, they dug up this guy, Terry Shelley, who went on CNN, and even he can't figure out how to defend the indefensible. Let's play that clip.
It's a wink and a nod, and it's all meant to undermine the President of the United States. The military does not have a right to undermine the chief.
Hold on a second. In this country, you do get to undermine the President of the United States.
Not if you're in the military.
No.
He's the commander-in-chief.
If you are a member of Congress, you absolutely, in this country, have a free right to undermine the President of the United States. You know that, right?
The commander-in-chief.
So, where are we? It is another example of Donald Trump not knowing how to read the room. The room being the American body politic and democracy. And when I was in the room recently to hear Jamie Raskin speak live in Miami and give a fiery speech, he reminded me of something that I think I had forgotten. And the Democrats need to reclaim their brand. And their brand is to be proud to be the Democratic Party, the party of democracy. And when Franklin Delano Roosevelt used to give speeches, he didn't talk about the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and say, well, the Democratic Party says this. He would say the democracy says this. The plutocrats and the autocrats and the Republicans take this position, but the democracy demands X. And he meant not just the democracy, but he meant the brand of the Democratic Party. That is a phraseology that had been used going back to Andrew Jackson. We need to reclaim it. We can't let the Republicans constantly try to clip the name of the party and call us the Democrat Party. Not the Democrat Party. They're not the Republic Party. They're the Republicans. We are the Democrats. Our party is called the Democratic Party. But more to the point, there's only one party that is supporting the democracy and has the right to use the word democracy as their brand, and that is the Democratic Party. And that's what the independents are seeing. That's what the polling numbers are showing. 26% of independents believe that Donald Trump is a favorable president. 26%. Without independents, MAGA has no chance of surviving the midterms or beyond. The party will die one generation. It will not replicate. It will not continue. And that's a good thing. We'll continue to follow it all right here on Legal AF. This is Legal AF on Monday to kick off Monday morning. Hit the free subscribe button. We're going to have 10 videos today for you at the intersection of law and politics. No outside investors, just this particular YouTube channel. Hit the free subscribe button. Go back to Legal AF Substack, where I post all of the court filings for you to read, along with a lot of other amazing content, and become a paid member for about $7 a month. Now you're a full-fledged card-carrying member of Legal AF. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.